Hi guys, I want to read to you a letter that I received, and it's from this client for this case study that we're about to go over. She said, "I am beyond stressed about my situation and can't focus. It's like I'm paralyzed by the stress of debt. I'm afraid I will mess this up. I need someone to help by giving me a first step. I feel like I'm in an endless cycle, paycheck to paycheck. I'm a single mom, but I have a professional, secure job. I have good credit. I just have too much debt, and it's taken a toll on my well being." So, what I want to do is I want to go over this step by step with you guys to show you what I did for her case study. Okay, so hopefully this will give you some peace of mind and help you get started. So the very first thing that I did with her is the month at a glance worksheet. And so down the column that says before, that's the traditional way of how she had been paying her bills. So you want to fill this out from the beginning of the month to the end of the month, exactly everything that you spend money on. And then there's a place at the bottom for income, and then the subtotal is the list of all the expenses. Then your variable budget is how much you spend on groceries and gas. And you guys, you really need to know what that number is. So go through your bank statements and your credit card statements. Have a firm grasp on what is a realistic number for your groceries and your gas and your miscellaneous, because we all have to take that trip to Walmart or Walgreens. Okay. So just know realistically what your variable budget is going to be. And then the total is the variable budget and the list of all the expenses. And then we subtract that from the income, and she's left with $94.42. She's got two kids. One's in college and one's in high school. So $94, that's tight, y'all. It's real tight. So here's the strategy. Okay. Once we filled out the month at a glance, we filled out the credit worksheet, and that just lets you know what you have to work with. So you have private label cards, you have general purpose cards, and you have installment debt. And the credit worksheet is available for you guys if you want to download that. Your private label cards are those cards like Lowe's, Home Depot's. Those cards that can only be used at that retailer, we can't use in this strategy. You want to avoid those cards. Any card that's only good at that retailer is a waste. Okay, so let's not, when they go in, "Oh, do you want to get this credit card?" No, thank you. You do not. You really want, if you're going to get credit cards, you want your general purpose cards that can be used anywhere, because you can use that in your strategy. And then the other thing on that worksheet is your installment debt, which is your mortgage, your car payments, your student loans, all that good stuff. So we can't use that either. So we have the general purpose credit cards filled out. She has 5 cards that we can use. Now, the very first thing is, which card is going to be the primary card? It is always, always, always going to be your card that has the highest minimum payment due. And the reason for that is because with all your multiple cards, you are matching expenses and bills to meet the monthly obligation for those credit cards. And it works the same way with the primary card. Your groceries and your gas are going to meet the monthly obligation for that minimum payment for your primary card. And so you're going to use your primary card with it being the one with the highest minimum payment, because most of us spend the majority of our money on groceries and gas every month. So that means when we pay on the card for paying for our groceries and gas, it more than makes up for whatever that monthly minimum is on that card. So go ahead, and that one is going to be the card. The primary card is going to be your card that has the highest minimum payment. And the reason for that is because we do not want to make that minimum payment anymore. We want our groceries and our gas to meet that obligation. So now that we have that out of the way, the next step is, okay, how do we know what bills to match with which cards? And the simple answer is, it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, other than the fact that you want to make sure that nothing is late. And so what I did with this client is I said, okay, when do you get paid next? So that's where we're going to start. When do you get paid? And she said, I get paid on the 27th. I get paid biweekly. So I'm going to get a paycheck on the 27th. I'm going to get a paycheck on the 10th. Okay, great. So now I'm looking at the month at a glance, and I see what is going to need to be paid from this paycheck to the next paycheck. What are we going to do to get her through to through that time. And she told me that she had already paid for the credit cards for the month of October. And I said, well, that's great, but we're still going to make payments on those cards because that's how we do this. We use our miscellaneous bills and expenses to meet the obligations of our credit card. And the reason that we're doing that we're using these credit cards, regardless of what your payment is on it, is because we are trying to build our credit. We're trying to show the lender that we have a routine of putting purchases on there and making payments on time. And so it means nothing to the lender if you're just not putting anything on there and you are only making your minimum payments. And then you come along and you start putting chunks on it, they're going to lower your limit. So we just want to show that we are in the practice and pattern of behavior of putting items on our credit card and paying for those items. And so for our multiple cards, the only thing that should be going on those cards are whatever bill or expense that we have matched to it. Okay, that's it. And so what we did for her is she gets paid on the 27th. So credit card 4, she's already made that minimum payment, but we're going to go ahead and match that with a bunch of stuff. So I matched it with her incidentals. And again, I actually had these switched out, credit card 4 and credit card 5. I had credit card 4 was going to be the one that I matched with her tuition. And then credit card 5 was the one I was going to have for her incidentals. But then she told me, hey, credit card 4, I don't get any rewards for that. So let's switch that out. So now credit card 5, the card that she gets rewards points on, we're going to put the $311 on that because she's going to get rewards points for that $311. So again, it doesn't matter which card you match. It really doesn't. You're just making sure everything's going to get paid on time. So she gets paid the 27th. So credit card 4, I said, hey, why don't we just logically, let's put all just your little incidentals on credit card 4. Okay. So you're not getting any points for it. So, instead of making a payment for $61, again, she's already caught up for October. When she makes this payment tomorrow, when she gets paid, she's going to pay this credit card. That's going to meet her obligation for November. So she's going to be ahead now on this credit card. So she's going to make the payment for $86.59. And then on the 30th, she'll pay for that healthcare bill with credit card 4. On the 8th, she'll pay for the Apple. On the 15th, she'll pay for the Microsoft. The 23rd will be Adobe. And the 23rd again will be Netflix. So she's paying it tomorrow when she gets her paycheck. She's making the payment on that credit card because what we're trying to do is get the longest stretch of time from the time that she pays the credit card and the time that she puts those bills and expenses back on that credit card. And the reason why we want to have the longest stretch of time is because you get paid, or you get charged, I should say, you get charged your interest based on the average daily balance of your card. So the longest amount of stretch of time that you can put from the time that you paid that balance down and now you're adding those expenses back onto it, the longer you can go, the least amount of interest you're going to be charged. And if you time it right, depending on when the billing cycle of your credit card ends, you could actually, like, say if it ends on the 30th and her billing cycle for the card ends on the 2nd of the month, then anything she puts on the card after the 2nd of the month will not be on her December statement. It will be on her January statement because that's just the way the billing cycle works. So again, we're trying to get a longest stretch of time. So when she makes that payment on that credit card for that $86.59, then she does not turn around and go, okay, well, now that I've paid it, let me go ahead and just knock it all out in one fell swoop and I'll just pay Apple, Microsoft, Adobe, Netflix, all of that today. No, you, again, want that average daily balance to be sitting there lower for as long as possible. So you pay the card up front, and then when those items come due, that's when you use the card to pay for those items. Okay, so credit card 4, I color coordinated it. And I color coordinated it because I need to keep track of, I'm just a visual person. I need to see what are we paying. And so I put all whatever bills and expenses I've matched to that card with the same color. I just assigned whatever color I want to it. So that's what you can do if you're visual like I am. And then for credit card 5, see, that says that it's due on the 31st. Again, I know she's already paid it for October, but she's going to pay it again tomorrow when she gets paid. She's going to pay it again, but she's going to pay it for $311.50. And then that credit card is going to sit there at that lower balance. Number one, she's getting rewards points for that $311.50. And then it's going to sit there at that lower balance until the 15th when that college tuition is due. And then she's going to pay for the college tuition by handing over that card or just, whatever, going online and paying for it. But again, from the 27th when she gets paid until the 15th, that credit card 5, has been sitting at a lower balance, which means she is going to be charged less interest on her next statement for that credit card. So those are her bills that we did for this paycheck that comes out tomorrow. And some people get confused and they're like, okay, how do I, if I got to pay mortgage and car payment and I'm supposed to be putting my paycheck onto my primary card, that's not exactly how it happens. What happens is you get your paycheck, it goes in your checking account, and what needs to stay in your checking account stays in your checking account, and then the rest of it is a payment onto your primary card. So for example, she's got her mortgage payment and her car payment is due, and we just split that in half to make it easier for her. She gets paid on the 27th, she gets paid on the 10th. So we're splitting that payment. The $500 is half of her mortgage, and then the $270.20 is half of her car payment. So that's just going to sit in her checking account until the next paycheck when she's ready to pay for those. And college interest that can't be paid with a credit card, so that sits in her bank account. So then she's paying for credit card 4, credit card 5, like I explained. So her bills that she's paying out for this pay period is come to $1,230.44. And so what she does is the paycheck is $2,000. The bills that she had for this period comes to $1,230.44. So the remainder of that is $769.56. That is what she pays onto her primary card. But because she has not been doing big chunks onto her primary card, what I have advised her in the letter that I sent to this client, I sent her 2 letters. And if you want to see what's in those letters, you got to download the case study. It's case study 3. But the $769.56, she's not putting chunks on the card, so I advised her to split that up. So the first weekend she's going to pay half of that, and then the next weekend she's going to pay the other half of that onto her primary card. So her primary card budget is $500, and that's got to come out of her $769.56 that she's paying onto her primary card. So if she stays on budget with her groceries and her gas, then she'll have $269.56. That's actually bringing down the balance of her primary card for this 2-week period. And then what we did was then we took a look at, for the next paycheck, what were we going to match? And that's, I hope that makes sense to you guys. It really does not matter which bills and expense you meet with which credit card. If you get rewards, you obviously want to put a bill or expense that's going to be the higher number on something that's going to get you some rewards points. But this can all change. It's all fluid. You're just matching your miscellaneous bills and expenses to these credit cards. Then you can color coordinate it so that you stay on track and know, okay, I pay this card first, then these bills are what are going to be coming out through the month. And I hope that makes sense. I'm going to do another video here in just a little bit. We're going to keep going over this, okay? You guys have a great day. Thanks.